So, dear friends, welcome to the last day of this training and this workshop dedicated to young people, young generation. I'm Federica Follesa. I'm the chairwoman of the Commuter and Regional Train Services in UIC, and I work in Trenitalia in Italy for, at the moment, more than 20 years, mostly dedicated to the regional and local trains. The Commuter Regional Train Services Group in UIC is like a forum, a place where the companies can share best practice and focus on the items that are related to the regional trains. Of course, during the COVID, it was very hard to meet, but we continue to work on video, connecting us with the opportunity that the digitalization offers us. And we spend many times thinking on the effect of COVID-19, because actually the regional trains were really affected from the COVID, and they are still affected, related to the commuters. All the companies are noticed that the seasonal tickets are still very, very low respect the amount before COVID, and we all expected to not reach the level we had before COVID. So we started to think on new customers. I mean, it's not new. We already had a big part of our passengers that use our trains for different reasons, not only to go to school and to go to work. But now this part becomes relevant. All the mostly regional services are covered by PSO contract, so there's a public service obligation, but there's a part from the state, the regional authorities, and a part from revenues from market. So we spend a lot of time sharing best practice and opportunities together. The 2020 was dedicated to ensure people that was safe and sure to travel on our trains. On 2021, we noticed that all the company react, promoting fares and offers as never we saw before. So in 2022, we decided to focus on the next generation, the young people, also because in Europe, 2022 is the European Youth Year. So we decide to investigate these fields, focusing on 4 actions. We prepare a survey that will expire in November 11th. We promote a video challenge for young people between 15 and 29 years old, asking them to describe by image, that maybe it's the new way to express they elected, how and why it's cool to travel by train. Then we organize a design thinking activities involving all the participants to the training that every year the Commuter and Regional Train Services organize for all the companies and people interested in this field. This design thinking was made in collaboration with the Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, that I welcome here. Thank you for your help. And 4th action, this workshop, this round table, where we will share the activities, we will know the winner of our video challenge, And we will finish with this round table with some ideas, inspiration for going straight. Then we expect to collect all our work in a report we hope available at the end of this year. But I speak too much, so let's go deeply in our action, and I give the floor to Hugo Fernández del Campo de la Universidad Politécnica de Madrid. Come on, Hugo. Take the floor.
Hi, good morning to you all. I came from Madrid to the Universidad Politécnica and also allied with ELISA community of a community of engineering universities in Europe. And so the survey was launched in June, and the deadline is in November, so you are on time to do it and to share it if you want. It was conceived to collect the answers, the opinion and reviews on young people's perspectives, but the target audience was every person, no matter the age, and from other parts of the world. It has been diffused around all the continents, and we have received at the moment 94 answers from different countries, mostly of Europe, but also from Canada, United States, Japan, or Turkey. And also most of the answers came from young people, because it was the target audience. And for that, we have, through ELISA, contacted more than 250 institutions related to young development or cultural development, and also via UIC by e-news to all the UIC members. So you can see a little nuance of all the institutions contacted. For example, YMCA in the US, Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, or maybe the Somalian Youth Development Foundation, Indian Youth for Society, Syria Youth for Society also. And now, what do we have? As principal results, we have to underline that mostly of the people who answered the survey has an easy access to the train station by walking or by public transport, and also they use them mostly daily or at least once a week. So we have a customer that has an easy access to the commuter or regional trains, and also it uses with a huge frequency. And the purpose of its use is mainly leisure, probably related to the young target audience of the people who was disseminated. But also work or university aggregate more than 50% of the purpose to the train. And now, as said Federica, comparing pre-COVID and after COVID, we see how in the case of work days, the COVID had a huge impact on the commuter use. You can see in the left graphic in the color blue and red, the less motivation to take this kind of trains, comparing to the expectation to next future, where people think they are going to take it more. And if we go in case to the leisure travel, the expectation grows in a significant level, as we can see, from 24.5% from 40.9%. So we can take about this, thanks to this survey, that the young generation hope to take more the train in the future. And then we asked them in the survey what changes did COVID brought to their lives, and so they say mostly that no change, but then we need to underline the teleworking that has been implemented in our life since then, also more bicycle use, or some special facts as the climate boat zero planes use, or the car use reduced to the cost of the gasoline. And then when we ask them about those elements that make trains more attractive, being affordable is the winner, as also as being more frequency. But we need to underline also some special facts like more connected to rural areas that we need to consider maybe in future plans. Also the habilitation of accessible spaces, the link to the cities, comfort, all those things that we have been talking these days on this faith training. And these conclusions corresponds with the question in the survey, where the participants were supposed to choose also the attractiveness of the train, and it's the same answer: cheaper and more frequent. Then through yesterday workshop, via creative work, we could answer in group to some special cases about the commuter use from 5 kind of persons that now have find answers to their daily problems or aspects that need to be improved. First, Nabil, now he could take the train with his friends by a comfort way, 4 hours and a half from Asturias to Madrid, not isolated in cabins just for wheelchairs, but also with access to the toilet and all kind of comfort things where yesterday were told in the design thinking. Also, Barbara Dupont will feel at home in every station where she can go to the toilet with all the necessities to her baby and her little daughter, and also take care of her, or despite losing all the teddy bears or the thing that Nasima illustrated with yesterday. Sylvia Vaughan could travel relaxed, looking through the window to Barcelona landscape, while taking for granted that her cello would be well protected in an adequate luggage space. And also, Taylor Stewart would travel by train from Vienna to Budapest, knowing that at the station he could connect with the city and find a job to continue his journey in Europe. And finally, Luca Sorrentino would travel also relaxed before taking the train, consulting on his phone all the unexpected events that maybe Rome City could have to not arrive at work, and the phone will tell him alternative routes to achieve it. And then another point of this project is the varied talents that now Vanessa Perez, Senior Advisor of UIC, will comment to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugo. Good morning to everyone. You can leave. Thank you. So, as Federica said, we started this idea of the Cool Rail project, or to think in a different way some months ago. And the surveys are nice. That gave us a lot of information, but actually talking about young generations, especially video and images, are more, let's say, important, and are more the language that we talk nowadays. So we try to make it more cool, more attractive, and we launched a video contest. Okay, so the idea of this video was to invite people between 15 and 29 years old. said that they identify cultural benefits and the link with the territory. For example, that means landscape. They all say, well, it's nice to see the landscape while you are in a train. It's something that you cannot do in a plane. When you take a plane, you are inside a bubble, but you are not linked with the territory. When you're on a train, you can see what's going on outside, and it's part of the experience, let's say. There are also, it's linked with heritage. Some stations are really special, they say, and leisure and entertainment was also one of the main things. Of course, sustainability. It was one of the topics, and convenience terms of the time. In terms of time, comfort, and accessibility were highlighted. Okay, then. Of course, we need to improve a lot of things. So some of the things, it's to be more affordable. So for young generations, it's normal that one of the main topics is the economy. Then there are other aspects that has been also announced, like digital accessibility, so be more accessible, have a Wi-Fi, online platforms, for example, to exchange with other people inside the train. Then the art expressions. In some stations, it's already a fact, but it could be interesting to have more art inside the train as outside the trains. Shareable on social media, again, and promote more that the trains are sustainable. We know that, but it's always something to remind. And Assure Last Mile was also other of the things that are important, of course, door-to-door experience. So this is the ranking of votes, and there were two winners. One from the public votes in the poll unit platform, and another one from the jury. So it was a group of experts of the UIC. We have a meeting internally, and we discuss about the best one for us. And I will show you now. So in this one we highlighted the quality of the video, the story that he tells, the explanation of the elements, and how inspirational it was. So the first winner, it's Lucas Souza from Portugal, from Porto Alegre. He's 20 years old. He's studying to be a policeman, so he has been called by duty today. He's not going to be with us, unfortunately, but he sent a video that I would like to show you. First, we will see the video he has done. So this is the one chosen by the jury.
Wait there again.
So I will show you the video of Lucas.
Hi everyone, my name is Lucas Souza. I'm 20 years old. I'm Portuguese. I live in Lisbon, and I'm taking a course to be a policeman. I was unable to attend the ceremony today, but I leave my testimony here. I always wanted to go around the world, but never in my life I have traveled outside of my country, until the day I decided to do an Interrail. All people know that traveling is expensive, but 50 years ago, Europe changed the way we travel. It created the Interrail Pass that gives us access to all trains in Europe. The day I have been waiting for finally arrived. I took my first plane and went to Barcelona. Yes, I take a plane because the trains in Iberian Peninsula is very slow and boring. My first train was in Barcelona. I spent 8 hours and 3 trains and arrived in Paris. It was at the moment that I realized that riding the train wasn't boring after all. Eat what we want, grab all bags we can, no waiting hours at the security checkpoint. We can even sleep in a bed and wake up in another country. And above all, we have a more sustainable and eco-friendly footprint. And who said the trains is slow? I visited 17 cities and across Europe in 1 month. It's really amazing how easy it's to travel around Europe by train. Today, I can safely say that I will start traveling by train. I hope that together we can make Europe more better. And you, where is your next station? Hi everyone, my name is Souza. I'm 20.
So it's nice how he starts saying, well, it was not easy to go from Portugal to connect with the rest of Europe. As a Spaniard, I know that. But then he changed his mind. So this is interesting how this experience changed the way he sees the railways. And then we have the winners that have been voted by the public. So first of all, I will show the video, and then we have the pleasure to have here the authors of it. So enjoy it first. It's a very nice video.
A lot of people ask me why I love trains so much, and well, there is not a simple answer to that. So this is me. Some of you may know me, and many of you have seen me on the streets, the airport, and definitely in stations. I've held many hands and I've walked a lot of kilometers. At this point, most of you have traveled with me and, together, have been in a lot of interesting places. The first time I started traveling was on a train. That's why I've always had this enthusiasm when I see a train station. Everything started in 1829, almost 200 years ago. I remember the excitement I felt being part of the imminent future, the transport revolution. Years later, the steam locomotive came and changed everything. It was so amazing to reach all those new places that seemed so far away. A lot of years have passed since that day. I was able to see the transformation that went through. How could I even imagine I was going to see how electricity and other clean energies replaced coal? And the speed. How fast it allows us to travel. Right now, it is very easy to get to another country in only a few hours, and that has allowed me to see a lot of places. I've discovered many paths and roads. Now, I understand that it is all about the journey, and how easy different rails can submerge in one. I've also seen how the trains get more importance in our daily lives, how everybody has now the access to a technology that seems so impossible at the beginning. I've seen many people waiting for the train to come ready to hop on, and many people getting off on their destination. So many opportunities with the opening of the doors, and many good vibes when them closing. Hey, look at me! A lot of years and kilometers later, here I am, still catching trains and full of the dreams you decided to bring. I don't know which will be my next destination, but I hope you join me to discover what the future will hold. A lot of people ask me why I love trains.
Okay, so here we have a presence of Gustavo Terrer and Carmen Garcia. He's 23 years old and she's 25 years old, and they study mechanical engineering in Madrid. And I think that the thing that they have in common, maybe more things than that, but is traveling and creating memories. I hope by train. So please, I invite you to come here and to explain to us and to share with us the inspiration of this video and yeah, what you think about trains. Please, come. So you can.
Well, first of all, thank you very much, and thank you for this opportunity. As Vanessa said, we are Carmen and Gustavo, and we are from Spain. So, in order to give you a better understanding of how we came up with this idea and this video, we want to tell you a little bit more about our story. So, I'm originally from Valencia, and that's where I started making videos with my brothers since I was very young. And then last year, I had the opportunity to move to Madrid to study the industrial engineer master's degree, and that's where I met Carmen.
Yeah, we met there and we became instantly friends. So when I heard about this contest through our colleague of mine, I thought we would really be a good fit. So that's when we started thinking to create something. And at first we wanted to do something different, something new. We wanted to talk about trains, but in a different point of view that could sum up like everybody and had like the same point of view from everyone. So we think of something in common, and that's when we thought about luggage. Everybody's always traveling with that. So that's when we decided to tell the story about its point of view, even it might sound kind of different, like difficult at the beginning. So we spent 3 days recording through Madrid. We were in metro stations, train stations, metro museums, and also had the opportunity to go to Portugal to record more videos. And we sum up all together. We wrote the story, and this where this video came. And we were very happy with the result. And I hope you guys enjoyed it and like it as much as we do. And thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you.
A small present. I will here. It's a small present for you, but you will receive. So the winners, the 3 winners, will receive a pass, Interrail pass. So this thanks to Eurorail, and we hope that you will enjoy in the future trains, and you will send more videos in future awards. Thank you very much for being here today and yesterday, because you were also during the design thinking, and it was very interesting to have also your views from outside the railway community, which we need also to have these views. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so after these video awards, again, go Google it, the Cool Rail project. You will see all the videos with a lot of very interesting ideas and very nice and creative videos. And now it's the time for a roundtable. So I'm very, very, very happy and glad to have here the speakers of this roundtable. Please, if you want, and you come here, George Oswald from SBB Switzerland, chairman of the Customer Experience Working Group at the UIC, Carles Casas from FGC, also chair of a UIC group called Top Rail, Ana Burcio from WAT Association, very engaged on the, using trains in a mindful way, Nassima Baron from the University of Gustavo Eiffel, Federica Folesa, you know her, chairwoman of commuter and regional train services at the UIC, and Jody, you can see it, please. And Jody Bauer, unfortunately, she's not with us today because of an unexpected personal problem. But again, I'm very, very glad to have you here today. It's not easy to have so many chairs of a UIC together. And also the idea is to have the vision of other associations like WAT or like the university to exchange on this topic, which is, as you know, what railways are doing nowadays to be more attractive for the customers in general and with a focus for young generations. So Federica started the day telling us or reminding us about COVID. It's true that COVID has hit a lot everyone, but it was also an opportunity, I think, to rethink what we are doing, why everything, so that in all the aspects in life, and also in transport. So I would like to ask you first, from your point of view as chairs, as engaged association, as a university, how do you see, what are you doing, or what are the projects that you know nowadays that are going on to be more attractive? Maybe we can start with George.
Thank you, Vanessa. Yes, even it's difficult to say what we have to change. We could see that everything changed during COVID, but it's very encouraging to see the figures in your study that it's not so much changed indeed. So majority of people said it changed not the lifetime. They will travel more or at least at the same way. But it gave us a good opportunity to rethink the system and to rethink how we can attract really to our different customers. And there was a lot of programs, not only by us in Switzerland, I think all railways around the world, to ask how we can attract more customers, how we can improve our trains, our stations. And so this was one of the main tasks during the work in the customer experience management platform, to ask how we can improve the whole system. So there's very fresh. It is the result of a study, a report of the Association of Public Transport in Switzerland. It was published in September, so 1 month ago. And one of the first points and one of the main points was to attract more young people to railway, because it's easy. They are the clients of the future, the clients of tomorrow, and we have to build on. And one of the main topics in this result of report was to use the so-called life-changing points. So the entry at school, the entry in university, the first own family, perhaps the first children. And so at all these changing points, to make links with public transport, with railways, beginning with a welcome package for newborns, collaboration that we have enforced with schools. We have now a really good offer for school excursions. So it's only 15 francs, so 15 euros per day per child, to make excursions throughout Switzerland, the whole country. And we have reworked on our ticket assortment. We have so-called 725 abonnement. So it's very dedicated offers for young people and children. We have a so-called Swiss Pass My program. We will work on it to improve it, to more attract these kind of people.
Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, schools. If you when your first experience starts when very very young, then you will get used to take the trains in a night. Alice, do you want to?
Yeah, I want to build on that from the top rail group that I'm from part. And let me go back a little bit before COVID. Tourism and rail used to be not the main market for most of the railway companies. It was like something that, okay, some tourists came into the train. There was Interrail a long time ago, but that was not seen as one of the main sectors of interest for most of the big railway companies, at least in Europe. And that started to change a few years ago because the somehow neglected in some terms tourist market was being started to be seen as an important market that could generate income and also create a rail culture that will then translate also into regular travelers for business and for leisure and even commuters. And that's why we created at UAC the Top Rail Group also just to reflect this change and to bring together was a very dispersed, let's say, approach to tourism within rail. And that's how we integrate in Top Rail from tourists traveling by rail, that we, as we saw before, from there to directly designed products designed for tourists and only for tourists, like cruise trains or historical trains. And we found out that there was a large community of professionals working already there. That bringing them together has allowed us also to see and analyze this market and this segment from a more, let's say, professional point of view also, and to bring together experiences, and started to see because at the same time there was a change in society, and COVID has nothing but accelerated it somehow. In fact, this change was made possible because the customers were changing, and also so the companies started to change, and also the tourist sector and companies from outside, let's say, the classical rail sector, we're also pushing railways and rail companies to react, and because if not, new entrants would take their place. So there was like a mixture of competition and cooperation pushing all this tourism development before the COVID. And we were seeing that because there are some attributes to rail that are becoming more and more important when taking decisions. Also in a context where some people are not only relying on car for the daily movements, and are more willing to share spaces and also assets, let's say. Rail plays its part, also with the sustainability. Maybe we'll change, we'll talk about it later. And then COVID arrived, and that brought everything to a stop. And obviously, non-essential trips like tourism, well, even more stopped than essential trips like commuters and so on. But at the same time, it had, and I will brief, like two consequences. One is that it gave time to rethink, and many companies took this time to assess their approach to tourism by rail and the tourist products. We saw all over the world in different companies, different levels of rethinking these products, new marketing strategies, even new structural, new changes or changes in the structure on how this business division was included within the companies. And afterwards, when we started to reopen lines and services after the COVID, there was a peak and a fast recovery of national and domestic markets. And that brought also, again, people that maybe had forgotten or they were not aware of this offer so close and so short distance, as some long distance trips were still restricted. They started refocusing on the short distance, on what was already there before. So we saw in also, particularly in Europe, I'm referring, how this internal market recovered quite fast. And so even during the tough years of the COVID, for this kind of market, results were not so bad. So we were generating the revenues and also attracting all these markets. Another thing is for those products that were relying on long distance trips, or let's say more high-end customers like cruise ships and so on. They rely more on intercontinental visitors, so that was more difficult. So it's a different case. So it's a broad, tourism is a very broad sector. It's difficult to have only one recipe, but sure, I think it's boosting now after the COVID. We see a recovery. I don't know if I was answering your question, but
Yes. I heard someone recently saying that it was a revenge of people after being at home. So we saw a boom of clients wanting to go to the nature in a safe, sustainable way. I will jump. You have worked on new business regarding commuter tourism. Back to the
Thank you, Vanessa. Yes, it's true. We had the same approach. We had the tourism on the train, but we didn't focus on them. So we considered the needs of commuters, students, but not tourism. I mean, they were and they use our train. COVID gave us the opportunity to rethink our approach, not our trains. This is something we discovered. Actually, we didn't change our schedule, our timetables, just rethink the approach. So we started to think about how to promote knowledge. Because if you are tourism, maybe you don't know how to reach where are the trains, where the trains runs. So the approach in communication, and we organize many different ways to suggest how to reach the final destination. So not focusing on the train, the destination, the timetable, and but how you could reach the place you are interested in. So, for example, we produce many travel books that you can buy in paper, but you can also see on our website. And here you find, for example, this one is for bikers. You find many routes you can reach by regional trains, so cheap, frequently trains, and then you can have you can enjoy some 20 paths you can enjoy with your bike, and of course you can travel with your bike on the train. But are this train new? No, this train runs now, but also before COVID. Now we cover, then we represent them with bike, reach beach, to go to thermal bath, and so on. There are many suggestions. And the videos that we saw are full of suggestions. They don't speak a lot about trains. They speak how to reach, how you can enjoy the discovery by train. So this suggestion is something that I put in my baggage, and I will think on coming back. And another thing that I saw in the video and also in the survey is the needs to simplify. We need to simplify because they ask us to assure the last mile, and the last mile is still there. There are buses, trains, and so on that can assure the last mile, but it is difficult to know. So we have to simplify. And we are trying to do this in many companies. And we are investigating this also in our commuter regional train services. The commuter group help us to know how the different companies are doing in Europe and in the world, and help us to rethink. We have to rethink, not to rebuild. Yes, we investigated first, and so we had the example from Denmark, a travel pass for the summer. We had the example of DB, in German, where you can travel with 9 euro pass. But from Japan, for example, we share their idea about how to spend time on the train, and they, for example, they offer some healthy exercise, like a gym, on the train. They explain you how you can do exercise on the train instead of waste your time. So don't think in a gym, use the train to be healthy. And then with our friends from Switzerland and Spain, how to communicate the past in Switzerland, in Italy and Spain, some opportunities related to tourism, the legibility of the services is another point we investigate. People need to be involved on the train and not feel lost in the station. So all our work, I think we can summarize with the words simplify. Simplify and feel comfortable from the idea to travel by train to the end of the journey.
Yes, indeed. We exchange a lot of information in these working groups, but we exchange information from the railways to the railways. And today we have the opportunity to have someone that knows very well the railways, like Nasima, but works with the young people directly every day. So your testimony, it's very valuable for us. Let us know, what are you involved in? What are the projects that you know that are ongoing?
Thank you, Vanessa. First and foremost, I really enjoy to be here today with you, and I think all has been said this morning, but also yesterday was showing me that a lot of things is being done, is being rethought in order to make a train experience more attractive for young people. So, if we have two slots for speaking, first, more general, but perhaps my second approach concerning commuting and young people, perhaps, because I think it's two elements. So first and foremost, yes. The first thing I would say is that I'm university professor for almost 30 years. So I've seen various generation of young people, not one, but several. And that's I see them changing a lot. So 20 years old girls and boys of now, today, and a decade ago were not the same people. And I think it's very important to see this kind of very rapid transformation, perhaps acceleration of ways of connecting with the city, the infrastructures, the transport infrastructures, and the supply, because you have car, you have train, you have plane, and you have buses. I've not heard of buses, but intercity buses can represent perhaps a threat for train supply, and for young people, I think it's a dimension of their possibility of selecting a train trip or not. A second thing I think very relevant when working on a daily basis with young people is that I was thinking about the name Cool Rail Project. First, I thought it's wonderful because young people are cool, young people are wanting not only comfort, but we saw in the films that they have a way to see life, to enjoy, to be open to the world. But had a second look, in my experience of facing young people from this year or 2 or 3 years, so it's perhaps a shift, is that they are not so cool, or not so cool as before. And they are not all, Greta, I want you to panic, but they are very, very conscious of the collapse of the world. And this collapsing makes them not cool at all. So they are perhaps much less oriented toward comfort. The world is open and we will enjoy and so on, as value-oriented. So they choose train because they think of sustainability, of fairness, of justice, of if I do this, and if I do this too much, other people won't do it in the planet because we are one small planet. And I think this value-oriented young generation, and the more the young they are, the more value-oriented, I think, all right, it's a statement, should be also introduced in our perception, because it can help to present train as a solution for them. And they also see it, but I think it's a dimension. And lastly, because for concerning commuting, I think it's a second perhaps element. I think that your approach of searching more, thinking more how we can attract them, pull them to train. In my view, in my university approach, research approach, you will tell me, is still a research gap, is still to be addressed, is still to be investigated, because of the a generation is an element, but they are all individuals. Their social class is an element of the selection of train or not. I think that some, I would say, most precarious part of this, or poorest part of this new generation, think train is, well, we were told it's cheap, but cheap to what extent it is or not cheap to them. So also a societal or financial dimension. And I would say also that, but you know much more than me, that this cultural perspective, I think young people in Africa, young people in Asia have, and in Europe, have very different train cultures. So perhaps should we customize or apply various perspectives on the way we can develop this kind of solutions for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. Interesting indeed. Yeah, we talk in general about customers, clients, young or old, but depends on the country, depends on the background. There are a lot of things to think about regarding the way they approach the reality of trains. And I would like to invite Ana Lucio, who is involved. She's working in SNCF in the customer experience in the regional trains, if I'm not wrong. But you are also a co-founder of what? Once Upon a Train. A very interesting. I follow you very much in the social networks. I invite you to follow them because you are doing a very interesting. I think you have a very interesting approach on how to make trains more attractive. So I would like to ask you, from your point of view, what do you think that what are you doing to make trains more attractive?
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. First of all, I'm really happy to be here to represent WAT. And before answering the questions, I will say a few words about our association, because I bet most of you don't know it. So we are a young association. We were born in 2019, before COVID. So I will make a link with the COVID stories, because we actually the association was born from a travel project. So we were a group of friends and we wanted to go from Paris to Tokyo by train for the Olympics. So as you all know, we couldn't go. So COVID happened, but actually the values were there. Our philosophy was created. So since we were all home during the pandemics, we started to communicate about train travel through our values, through our ambition that we wanted to vehicle through the travel project. So we started to communicate about slow travel, about train travel as a sustainable alternative, as a cool alternative. And so we like to say at what the longer the better. So our mantra is really like, take your time, take the train. And what are we doing today? So we are a non-profit association. We are, since our creation, we are around 140 members, but we have a huge community on the social media. And we can say that our actions can be grouped into two kinds of activities. So we travel by train and we promote train travel. So when it comes to promoting train travel, we act through our values. So one of our values is the fun. So we organize events, we organize festivals. For example, we recently organized the second edition of our big festival in Paris. And the idea was to reunite many actors, different actors in railways and train travel sector, and to celebrate the train. So we like celebrating it. And also, so there were roundtables like this one to discuss about train. There were games, there were performances, there were exhibitions to make people dream about train. Because we wanted really, like in a weekend, we really wanted to celebrate train travel, to make everyone dream again about the train travel and railways. And so it was a bit representative of what we do at Watts. So we kind of build new imaginaries and new narratives about train travel. And we say that our ambition is to make railways as sexy as the Indonesian beaches. So it's work in progress. And also, other things that we do is we do awareness raising workshops in schools. So we started last year. So we really adapted to any kind of age. So this year we will test the first ones on really small children, because we think the earlier we start, the better. So we would love like France and Europe to be more like Japan, where like kids dream about being a train driver. So we started. We started in companies with our raise awareness workshop, and now we are testing more and more in schools. So with young people, we want to test in high schools as well. So and basically we talk about sustainable mobility, but with train travel as a backbone. And so what else? I'm surely forgetting something. Yeah. So we created also a board game. Called Jeu de l'Ouate. It's inspired from the Goose Game. So it's we did like human size for kids and young people to play. So it's a board game where you actually, while playing, you learn about train travel, you learn about you learn about anything. It can be more technical or more useful tourism information. And also what I already said, we communicate a lot. So we communicate on social media, we communicate through our monthly newsletter. So we really want to re-enchant the train. We want really to make people dream about trains. We are storytellers. So we like we are always in a positive attitude. So we share good news about train travel. So we say when there's a new line, when there's a new train line coming, when, for example, Interrail or Eurail are making a promotion. So when 10%. Or when there's a new pass, anything good that could boost and motivate people to travel by train. And the last two activities we do is we advise people that want to travel by train, because we know that today is hard, as Federica was saying, so it's not easy to have the access to the information. People sometimes they want to travel by train, but they don't know, they get lost. Because especially when you want to travel internationally, from point A to point B, it's not like the airplane where you like press a button. And we know that especially young generations, we are used to access to things easily, to book them easily, like pressing just one button. And with train travel, it's not the case. And so we have more and more people coming to us, like saying, I want to do from Paris to Bangkok by train, but I don't know where to start. So we advise them on prices, we advise them on the best itinerary. We say, oh, look, that train line is really nice, you should really do it even if it's slower. We say, for example, if an Interrail pass would be more advantageous in that case, or another pass, for example, a Swiss pass, and things like that. And last but not least, so we organize rail trips, what we call watt boxes. So it basically consists in a train trip with an experience. So it can be like creative writing workshops, it can be like painting workshops, it can be a festival. And we really include the train trip in the travel. So what we want to show at Watt and what we believe in is that traveling by train is not just a means of transport from point A to point B. So it's really like you can move into the train, you can meet new people, you can go to the restaurants, you can sleep, you can look at the landscape, everything that the young people were saying in their videos. And so that's what we're doing. That's it for me. Thank you.
Johanna, I think it's very interesting, and I used to say that we should change or transform iron, so all the engineering that we have with us in the trains, because it's true that trains are difficult to manage, a lot of operation. We are in this training, commuter rail training, we talk a lot about all the concerns or the problems that we have to run a train, which is not easy. But at the end of the day, as you say, it's a question of experience. So the people should not be worried about all the engineering behind the scene, but really what's going inside the train, what's the experience, if it's simply or seamless. So. Because we have a little more time, I would like to ask you, what do you think are the barriers, the main barriers that we have nowadays to get to the people? For example, I think you said communication. Translate this very train language, engineering language, translated to the customers, for example, things like that. Where do you think there are the main barriers to make possible to be more attractive?
I want to take some suggestion from Anna to reply to you. As I told you, I work in the railway companies for more than 20 years. And during this period, I have produced transports. So people that works in railway companies produce transports, produce trains. And I love the watt box. You told us the watt box, because the watt box is an experience. So we have to move from transports to service. And when we will transform our work in a service, maybe we will jump all this problem of understand what, why, where. And sometimes it's difficult for us too. If you want to travel abroad, international travel, maybe also if we work in the rail company, we have some doubts, Can we imagine how many doubts they have other people? They are lost. So I think we have to think, I don't know anything about trains. I want to travel by trains. How can I get information? Maybe with a map, maybe with some suggestion, maybe with a watt box, or a box that gives you door to door. Because we speak a lot about door to door. It's real. It's train, buses, a lot. But it's not only door to door. It's exactly to tell about how you can have that experience, that moment of your life using trains. we have to think, rethink, because sometimes I do with my children. They are teenagers, and they tell me, "Mom, I want to go there. How can I do?" And I say, what can you do to know how to reach? And sometimes they are lost. They are digital. They can use very well all the website, the app, but they are lost. So we have to think about this, how to simplify the approach to the transportation, this service from door to door.
Yeah, coming to your question, remind me of an experience that we saw in Interrail from our colleagues from Ireland. They have many visitors from the States that are going back to Ireland to visit like their ancestors' land and their hometowns and so on. And some people come from states in the United States where rail service is scarce, and for many of them, it's the first time they board a train. So one of the efforts this company had to do was to accompany them and in some sense teach them how to board the train, and that was very controlled environment because it was they used let's say the non-peak hours to get from Dublin to the country, so we're like counter offering the seats, but that made me realize that how important it is to learn. For example, we work a lot with kids, so that they already integrate that from the beginning, how to board the train, how to enter the system, some special cars in the morning to schools only for kids with some, and then afterwards some workshops and so on. And that's something we should not forget, that people should be, and people should not, we should be sure that these customers, once they grow, they don't lose this ability. Because when you don't know a system, entering the system, there's always a big barrier there, even if it's mental, even if we make it easy. So that's one of the, I had 3 points on what you said. The second, it's linking to what Rika said. Traveling by train, it should not be a challenge. Okay, it's very satisfying when you are faced with a challenge and then you make it and you reach, I don't know, the Far East by train, but that should be the exception. Let's say we should work into making that much easier. Because if it's a challenge, that's for individuals, there are rail enthusiasts. We are lucky in our sector because there are enough rail enthusiasts to keep travelers going and people that know more about railways than the companies themselves, and they know everything, train spotters, but that's not the focus. The idea should be to make this easy and accessible for everyone. Their technology can help us a lot, that's true. But even now, even in Spain, it's much easier to take buses and planes and trains because websites connections are not fulfilled, the offer is not clearly explained, and when you cross borders, it's even worse. But we should not forget, and from the tourist point of view, that we should also change our products to some extent. We should design our offer, and then now I'm speaking specifically for tourists. We should design our products also for non-usual travelers. As Federica said, even in your own country, sometimes you feel lost in stations. Let's imagine that in foreign countries. The link with these last miles and so on, but also the product, the design, the services on board, all the signaling, the schedules, and looking at the target market that you are looking for is not the same. Cruise trains or special tourist trains that tourists in commuter trains. That's very difficult. But there's also a lot of job to do to communicate internally. And the second is the link with other companies in the sector. Railways tend to be self-sufficient. Okay, and not to look a lot to other companies. And the same that you mentioned that people want to travel from one part to another, how to do that. Also travel operators approach us and say, okay, I want to make a train from Amsterdam to, I don't know, to Lisbon. Which is the answer that the rail sector is providing me? And currently, there's no answer. It's easier for them to book some buses and some planes than to have, even if they have the market, they have the knowledge, but there's no answer. So there's also a job for us as rail industry to give answer to this need that's there. So we should communicate more, but we should also design thinking about the markets, and we should also adapt on how we have an offer attractive also for the professionals that already know the sector.
We have started already to look to the other companies. It was the reason why we have created the customer experience management platform. And so we have studied the whole entire customer journey. And we have produced a first report about that last year. But unfortunately, I have to say, the part of young travelers, we haven't really managed done. And so, as you said, it has to be addressed. And so I think one of our work parts for next year's will be in the CHAMP to address the needs of younger people. But I think the good thing is, I think the basic needs are not so different. As we have seen in the market study, we don't need a youngster express with all these cool things in it, yellow screens or so. I think it is really encouraging, but what we have to do is really to give a focus to inspiration, information. It is also the same thing that we have started with COVID and after COVID. We have seen a really big changement from customer-orientated railway to a more and more leisure traffic-orientated railway. In all our members, we have members in the CHAMP more commuter-orientated, like Belgium or Netherlands railways or Swiss railways, but also general railways like Renfe or Slovenian railways, but all have reported with transfer from commuter to leisure. And in this case, in Switzerland, we collaborate very narrow with a partner in the tourism, with the destinations, to give all the information and in the best way, the distribution platforms directly to the destinations, directly to their website, to be where the customer is already. And so the entry in the system to have it more easy for the customer. And we should transfer the benefit from the daily life. We have in Switzerland already 50% model split for young people during their education, for education travel. And so we have to change, or we have to manage the link to also the other activities like leisure traffic to bring this easiness to the leisure traffic too. And also in other fields, the easy entry, we have built on the collaboration even with our competition with the flight sector. We have make a big progress in Switzerland with Swiss airline to build on the code share. Traffic is also one way to give more easiness to go into the railway system. Because it is what you said, to push one button, okay, you push one button by Swiss, but you will get a railway journey. So it's one part of it.
If we go back to big metropolises and mass transit and another part of transport which young people use a lot because of, for example, reaching university, what I see every day, I think that we have perhaps a possibility to make a kind of pro and contra approach of the situation of young people, thinking if they are keen to use train, but I think a daily train. It's a very specific part of the market, but a very important part for the financial equilibrium of train system as well. And I think that yes, there are many good reasons for keeping using daily mass transit systems and trains, trams, metros, but trains, suburban trains. First is that they already use it a lot. When I take the Terrer A or B or C every day in Paris, I think that the majority of people are under 30 or almost a half. So it's, well, it's important to think about young people, but they are already a very important part of the customer. Second, they used to go to traffic generators, be it universities, schools, or their first job can be La Défense or can be headquarters. So there are places where train stops, so it's of course easy, and they choose it. More and more young people prefer not to bore them with a driving license. So in a way, it's a kind of natural solution if they are less and less able to use a car, to use train. So all these elements, but also the fact that they, for their leisure, they love coffees, they love downtown ambience and environment. So they are inclined to use a suburban train or commuting train or metropolitan train, because this kind of train gives accessibility to this very, very hyper type of place and central business district, and as well. I think that perhaps do they fear less than older people COVID or other illnesses they can find in also this kind of packed places, packed trains, platforms, transit environments. So all these reasons, and perhaps also the possibility to be, because you talk a lot about being in a friendly environment, traveling with colleagues, friends, and at the generation level. But I think that young people love what the city brings, and the big city brings a sense of anonymity, a sense of coming out of one village, of kind of social surveillance, and all my parents could see me and so on. And I go to the city and I take the train, and I am free to enjoy the city, and it's part of a very historical and ancient attractivity of city. But this being said, perhaps are there not threats, but elements that could be taken into account if we think of the future of the place of young people in suburban or commuting trains. First is perhaps in my work, I see that more and more we have not La Sorbonne in the middle of Paris, or I would say UCL in the middle of London, but we have very decentralized, connected campuses, which can be in medium-sized cities or even in Ile-de-France and in the rest of France as well. So perhaps is this a reason for less people in the daily metropolitan trains? Because these people, take you a simple example. My university is in Seine-et-Marne, but Seine-et-Marne is a department of the second ring in Paris. So we could imagine it's a metropolitan university. Yes, surely it's on the RER A, but for 3 years now, in post-COVID era, it created one campus in Nemours, one campus in Melun, and so all these people doesn't use more the train, the suburban train. Second is the financial capacity. So of course, train is cheap, but to reach some places, even if they are not so centric, I think, of course, ride sharing and all the digital tools to share the car and consider no more the car as a propriety but as a service makes it a challenge for train because, and it's perhaps another element, so it's not train approach, it's way of life of young people I develop, not train perspective, because I'm not a train expert or marketing train expert. But I see also that this approach of daily train, a train from Monday to Friday, every day, every hour, the same train back and through at rush hour, is perhaps no more the way of life the young people want in the relation to the way they work. They prefer working for sometimes in an office, sometimes in a teleworking of a way, or perhaps being involved in a project, but as an individual entrepreneur. So they are freelance, and they perhaps don't need so much a monthly ticket or an annual ticket. So they would perhaps let suburban train because it's too much money for using it half time or half. So this element can also be I think. And lastly, but it's of course I think that is being addressed, is the need to be not only comfortable, but to a kind of physical integrity and respect. It's about the value I was telling about in my previous speech, the value for the planet, respect for the planet. So please respect nature. And if you don't do, I throw soup on a picture in a museum. So they have some behavior, so they're radical. But respect and integrity for my person, my body, so packed trains, not only for girls, of course, girls, harassment, my body, but I think girls and boys of this new way of wanting to be respected. And it's something that I see clearly in my connection with them. And it's also all this value, respect for people, for animals, for life, is a dimension that, well, is perhaps not so addressed in daily commuting, harsh conditions of daily transport, and I don't know how to address it. But I think also it's an element from which I have to learn from you who are professionals, and we have perhaps to develop as a research gap, as I was telling, because these new generations give us a lot of challenges in urbanism.
Before I give you the floor, Anna, I will ask. I would like to ask the audience later, so I give you the time to think. If you have some questions because we have the opportunity to have these experts here with us. So think if you have some questions. Okay.
Well, I wanted just to, I join pretty much everything that my colleague said, but especially I wanted to join Federica when she talked about simplify, and because some of the ideas that we would like to work on at Watt and we think should be worked on into operators, but also Interrail organizations, it's really simplification. So easy, facilitate the access, because we know that besides prices, besides financial accessibility, it's really one of the main barriers in railways today. So really think about communication, how to communicate, how to centralize information so that everyone can access it easily, how to develop more offers like Interrail passes, Eurail passes, because we know that they are working really well and sometimes people just don't know them. For example, what we see is that many people don't believe that Eurail and Interrail is just for young people. So I know today we are talking about young people, but trains are for everyone. And so many times we say, no, you can buy an Interrail pass. So, and they are like, wow, amazing. So this is something should be really developed, because passes like this simplify really the way of traveling. So because you have a platform, you have an app. So we think all operators should go more in that direction. And also, I wanted to join Carlos about when we talked about communication between operators. So, and again, Interrail Pass is a great example, because we think a better network, a real network between operators where they communicate an EC that wanted to organize school camps abroad by train, but they don't know how to do it. So they were lost because there is a problem of the last kilometers. There was the problem with the price that are changing all the time. You cannot book much time in advance. So this could be an angle because it can be a barrier. And we know that it's not the case like in Switzerland. And not everyone is doing the same work with schools, with group travel, from easy access for groups, for schools, for school camps, school trips, etc.
It's very funny, but I have a 4 years old little one, and I realized when you are with the babies and with small children, how they love trains. I mean, then it was not because I was working on trains. Well, maybe because I have trains from SBB, OBB, and all the different trains that they give me when I go and travel. And he was, since he's 1 year old, playing with trains. So I think we need to keep this, this opportunity that they are attractive in a natural way for people, no? And sometimes we lose because of commuting trains. Sometimes we lose this nice image of trains as our first play toy or this image of nice trains. So as I said, I would like to ask the audience if you have any questions for our speakers or something that you would like to say from your perspective as operators or as young people. Nasera?
Thank you. I have a question for Rebecca. You spoke about an approach of rethinking travel, and we don't necessarily have to rebuild for making travel more easier and accessible for all. So if you can just say more about this approach and give some details about it.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I have to tell you that the network of regional trains in Italy is very developed. So we didn't focus on the schedule, the timetable, because in many areas we have one train each 30 minutes, one train each hour. So the schedule is very clear and cover all the hours, not only the peak hours. So we consider the timetable already developed for the needs of commuters, but also for needs coming from tourist people. So first, we focus on intermodality. We started to collaborate with many public transports. According to the financial aspect, we don't have at the moment a collaboration with private or we don't provide buses or connection. We work with people, with companies that are already in the sector, the public transports. So what we do with them, we collect the timetable, we put in our website, and we sell just one ticket, improving new virtual station in our network. I mean, Assisi, that is a place where a lot of tourists come, young people, but not only young people, but Assisi is over a hill, and the train station is in the valley. So you can reach Assisi, but you don't Assisi station easily, but you don't reach Assisi, the cathedral. That is your final destination. So with this agreement, we create a virtual station that is a city center in our website. And since 2019, you can buy one ticket, for example, from Rome to Assisi city center. The timetable are, in some cases, the bus companies redesign the timetable. It was an opportunity for the real intermodality, because it's intermodality, it's not only the ticket. Intermodality means that you arrive in the station and the bus is there. You don't have to wait for 40 minutes, but maybe you have to wait for 10 minutes. So this was also the opportunity to have some tables to work together, because this should be the works of the local authorities. But the local authorities, in some cases, are far from these items, already gaining for financial problems, how to manage. So it is their challenge, but at least it's our challenge. So at the moment, we have more than 250 final destinations served by buses or both, improved in our website. So we are trying. Yesterday, we saw different way to create mass. We are trying to be the focal point of mass in Italy. So Trenitalia website, like the mobility portal for public transport. So intermodality, suggestion, as I told you, as I told about this one, but not only this, because this could be static, no, in a dynamic point of view. So, for example, there's a fair. There's a very interesting museum. We make agreement. So if you arrive by train, you will have a discount. But it's not a box. This is what we need to achieve. We offer a discount, but people has to buy the ticket, the train ticket, arrive there, then show the ticket and have the discount. It's something that maybe you don't trust too much. Maybe at the ticket they tell me, it's not true, it doesn't work, so the box is better. But it's work in progress. So intermodality, information, and then a new program on the social media. We landed on the social platform, first with Instagram, now we started also with Facebook. And we have an app where you can chat with our experts of fare, routes, and so on. So with this app and this connection, you can simplify the travel. But it's a challenge. We are, in a way, new items, but not still on goal. And another point of view, not all people use app, and not all the tourists are young. Italy is they call the born winter in Italy. So younger people are going every year less. So we have to think on older tourism, older passengers, because they are the future. I hope we will change the route, but actually we will have more senior travelers for tourism than younger. So we have also a new phone number where you can have all your information. It's an old style, but believe me, we receive a lot of calls from all people, and not only old people. And what's tomorrow? Loyalty program. We had in our company a loyalty program for long distance train, high speed train, very beautiful price, Nothing for regional train. Commuters were always the last wheel. And now, since December, so it is not still running in the next future, we will have a loyalty program, especially thought for regional and train services. So not commuter, not tourist. This train for all the people that use this train. And the price, first price will be the cashback. So not something you desire, but something you can use again to improve the experience on our trains. And let me know that when we meet all together, I write a lot of words that are suggestions. And then on my plane, I will try to understand which words will be more inspiring us in the next future. So it's really a work in progress.
Doesn't fit. Yeah. Let me add 2 points concerning rethinking of travel, because the easiness of rail travel means you have to avoid changing trains. It is always a point of unsecurity, unsafety, not so good behavior. And so we have seen that with the rising importance of leisure traffic, the needs of customers during the week, Monday to Friday, are very different from needs the weekend or Friday noon until Sunday evening. We have rethought also the offer, and we have tried to introduce more direct trains, at least during the weekends, to better serve tourism interesting destinations. So you can get a train from Geneva Airport into the Valaisan Alps directly in the winter time, or you will get a special train for students from December from the southern Switzerland to the Lake Geneva region to go to university Sunday evening. So these are small points, but I think it's very important points to attract very customer needs also in this point. And not to forget, in terms of easiness, we have one big friend as railways. At least we in Switzerland, it is here, you have your travel center, your ticket office. And with very easy solutions, like we have a system of B&B out, also in entire Switzerland. With one swipe, you get your ticket automatically with sales after the journey. And even without that, we have a distribution rate for from more than 80% that we sell via this distribution channel. And it's also a point for easiness, and we are built on to improve it.
I have one question for Carlos. If you count, and how do you count with cultural heritage as an asset for railways attractiveness for young generations, not only as railways itself as a cultural heritage, but also like the city's heritage or the landscape heritage?
I didn't get the beginning of the question.
If you count with cultural heritage as an asset for railways attractiveness at top rail, I mean, like touristic attractiveness.
Yeah. I mean,
if in top rail you count with cultural heritage in some strategy,
sure. Now I got it. Sorry.
How do you do it? In which
my hearing wasn't good. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, cultural heritage is one of the assets that rail treasures as one as its attractiveness for daily travelers, but particularly for tourists and non-daily travelers. There's a heritage, cultural, industrial, very linked to the territory itself, because railways, when they were developed, they created landscape by themselves. So there's a cultural heritage in the broadest sense that you can imagine linked to railways. And there are many nice examples on how to treasure it and put value into it, so that when you are visiting by rail a community, a sector, a region, you do not only are moving from one place to another, but or reaching a destination to visit, let's say, a basilica or a waterfall, whatever. It's also the train itself part what explains this. That includes heritage in the sense of, let's say, steam trains and these kind of things, but also stations, also all the infrastructure, and the landscape as a whole. And that's something that's very valuable, and that gives attractiveness to the territory beyond being having a singular exceptional attraction. It's like all the community gathered around it. We have some examples, for example, in Greece, in Calabria, there's a rock railway. There's a very nice link between all the communities, and they have festivals linked to the train, they march the tracks. There's painting festivals devoted to how landscapes with the train running it. So, and that's very local, but that also allows, it's also ski station, okay, but that can be reached by this rock railway in Greece. So that's a very important part. In Top Rail, we have like 5 main sectors. One of them is heritage trains and everything related to heritage, and our cruise trains, tourist on rails, panoramic trains. Okay, so for sure, and we cannot forget that, because also, as Vanessa said, it's part of our. It's like there's an inherent attractiveness of rail. We don't know why, but it's true that children tend to play more with trains than boats or planes. I don't know, maybe because it's easier, and there's a long thing, it's very big, so you feel real. No, cars are only one car, you cannot couple them together. So there's something there, and we should treasure that. And a part of treasuring it is not forgetting all this heritage and putting that into value. We have also nice examples of stations that having developed, like Tokyo Station, Grand Central. Grand Central Station is the most visited attraction in New York. So it's, but a few years ago, well, many years ago already, there was another Penn Station was demolished, and it was as attractive as Grand Central. So something is changing there.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
I'm Yasunari from JR East. It's very, very impressive discussion. And my question is about IT technologies. To all speakers, about 20 years ago, railway travel was so bad. They had a lot of stress. And during the COVID-19, we could achieve to reduce the stress by smartphone app and the IT gadget, I think. Now, I think we realize the IT technology have a power to reduce the stress for the railway travel. But Anne said, so we want to put something like attractiveness event or the enjoyable experience, I think, while travel on rail. So I think the IT gadget, IT technologies have a power to ensure to more attractiveness, I think. How do you feel? And do you have any ideas, draft ideas, and dreams and expectation? So I want to. So if you have this expectation and ideas, I would like to share here now. For the IT technologies, because JR East opened the metaverse station in Tokyo metropolitan area in the spring. It's challenging. The virtual station related to real station. So that is one of the use case, I think. If you have a specific ideas or the dream, so I would like you to show. Yeah.
I start because you asked for 5 of us. Just 2 very brief concepts. I think that we all see a huge potential there. So obviously through IT there will be a solution, but at the same time, I think that we are not really focusing sometimes on what's important for the travelers. And we have these great expectations on IT, so we tend to build very complicated things when still it's very difficult to buy simple tickets with a connection. So, I mean, yeah, there's a huge potential. We should be developing it, but maybe before thinking about the metaverse and so on, we should make sure that it's easy to buy a ticket with 3 connections on 2 countries.
I can really agree with that. And as I said, it's our friend. It's our friend for selling our tickets. It's our friend. It's also a friend for our customer. If you can in the SBB mobile app, you can check in. You get information about your next track, changement of track, changement of your connection train. I know DB has the same system, and I think it's the way to build on. But we have to do in Switzerland. We have to do change older technology from all these systems, distribution system, especially for international trains, not on the right stage there, to build up from the end of the next year all these systems of a next level. And so it's our main work. We have to do. We have to introduce a new reservation system that gives us more possibility to change the best seat and reserve a table on the restaurant or so. These are the basics we have to do, and then we go to the main towers. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Carlos.
Can be a rather in another ways of thinking it, but a few days ago, two Russian boys, did 3,000 kilometers by bike to go to Kazakhstan, and they chose bike because they could have choose train, certainly, but you may understand why they did choose bike, because too much cameras in stations and trains. So I'm not advocating for low-tech solutions, but I know that young people are very interested by new low-tech and non-digital solutions as well in the future, and present and future generations. But this is one dimension of this importance, this concernment by young and not so young to the way our not only privacy, but their information is themselves, as they use Instagram, as they connect to their own friendly network. So, and they know they share it, or they are being theft or robbed by this information when they travel, or they use specific public space and some types of transport. So it's digital is a tool, digital is a friend, and digital can be also an element that will some part of population from collective, public transport. The second element is concerning this way digital tools have already completely transformed the train and station experience in metropolitan as well as in intercity transport, is that I think that more and more, as information is a key dimension to a good train exploitation and reassuring of customer, that we are being more and more in as if customers' brain was a kind of empty bag, and we could pour and pour and pour visual information, auditive information, tangible information, just as you know, on the floor, signage on the floor, and everywhere. So more and more trains are cognitive systems, which are being to be educated with, because they are more and more cognitive demanding. And one of the consequences is that there is an epidemic of lost objects, which are, we were talking yesterday, elements of perturbation for the customer and for the train system and for the station management. And this is because the attention of the customer is driven by or oriented toward various elements as well. So your question by IT is that people have already their music, their cask, their information system. They follow the radio or their music. They have the IT of the station and train system, and well, these are new conditions, new, well, cognitive and behavioral condition of train, and perhaps the traditional way of choosing train, because in airplanes we are completely bored by this security system and information, and more and more perhaps should we see in what way would have a reasonable use of not only IT, but what is transported through IT. I mean information load, information access, not to well use the attention of the client all the trip long.
Well, I agree. I agree with my colleagues. I think probably the answer is a bit in the middle, because we have to find the right balance between the necessity of having a digital connection and a digital system that works, IT, and this goes at first on the basic services, so booking a ticket, so getting the information and everything. So I think maybe focusing on that for all companies will be a good idea at first. But then there are also infinite possibilities with apps that could enrich the experience on the train, even on the train. Like there were some examples that were already. I think there was an app launched by Trenitalia, but I don't know if it exists anymore. Esperienza. And this kind of thing that could enrich the experience. For example, I don't know, we were talking about cultural heritage. When you're traveling, for example, you get to a station, or you get you go through a territory, you could have an app that explains where you go, that gives you some historical information, that gives you some information if you want to get off the station and visiting. These kind of things already exist, but I think it would be worth to be developed more. And on the other hand, we are also talking about environmental impact and about digital sobriety, about the necessity to detox sometimes. And I really, really believe in at Watts that the train is like a moment of suspension, you know? It's a moment where like time stops and you can really focus on yourself. You can take your time. You can enjoy just looking at the landscape. So why not maybe thinking about something about both services for people who need really a connection, like workers that want to travel, that want to work on the train, or people who are extremely connected, who want to listen to music and everything. But maybe I don't know, think about some areas with digital detox, maybe where, like on the plane, where they don't have a connection, maybe just promote the fact of being in deconnection and more centered on themselves. It's just thoughts, just thoughts like that.
No, we were laughing because we are with the University of Madrid, Politécnica de Madrid, and also Nasima is part of that. We are working in a European project called Rail to Land. You can Google it, and it's an app to put value in the landscape. So I think that in the future, maybe in some trains we will see smart windows with information, tactile. I don't know, but for the time being, this kind of it's a proof of concept. There are already some good apps in Switzerland, for example, but yeah, the idea is to give a nice content on what are you seeing. Sometimes you are in the train, you say, oh, that's a mountain or a lake, which one it is. If you are from the place, sometimes you can know, but it's a common question, and we were working on that with some students, university, and IT. And I would like also to give regarding to be simple and to have, let's say, smart solutions, because at the UIC, you know that we have different operators. There are big operators like SNCF or TV, and you have other operators that come from small countries or that have less train network. But at the end of the day, it's a question sometimes of smart ideas. So Federica, she has the same trains. She's just trying to make them more visible or market them in a different way. It is not a question of money, it's a question of how to think about that and do it. So a smart solution related to IT, we have a group on accessibility, Passage, and in this group, Eurostart shared with us a partnership with the Association of Autism, which is a huge problem in society nowadays, especially for young generations. And they just create a kind of metaverse. It's not a metaverse. At the end, it's a video of a station, of a very crowded station in London. And they show this video in the website. So you can go there and before your travel, you can take a look at the security, because in Eurostar they have this security like flights, more or less, and it creates a lot of angst, a lot of for some people it's a very bad moment. So to share this in advance and to planify this with this IT very simple video, it's a smart way. Not IT, you don't need 2,000 developers to do so, but it works, and it's an example of a project that it could be replicable anywhere, and very simple.
So I'm the last one, and so I think I don't have anything to add.
Can you try this one?
See? Okay. So I'm the last one, and I don't have anything to add to my colleagues because they said a lot. I just want to underline that IT must not be the objective of our work, but it's a way. It's something to use. So I think IT has to be our friends when we are on the train, and I want to know, oh, let's see the beautiful town. What is its name? And the app can help us to know the landscape. But at the same time, the IT can help us to buy the ticket, not only the train, but the entire journey ticket. And of course, we have to have the offer, because if we don't have the offer, we can't sell anything. And IT can help us in managing the difficulty when the train, when we have a lack of the solution. So training late, misconnection. IT is our friend. We have stuff on the train, but it's not enough. People want to know what is happening in that moment, right in that moment, and the staff cannot provide to all in the same moment. And at the end, IT can help us in the, we call second contact. I mean, refound, loyalty program. So from the idea of the travel, the journey to the end, but just a friend, a way to do, not the final object of our work, because in some cases I feel not comfortable. It seems that IT gave us limits and the final destination, but the IT is not our final destination.
I have a question. So why I was trying to answer myself to the question, what can we do to make railways more attractive for young generation? And I was saying that probably we should start earlier. So when we try now to attract the young generation, it's too late. Probably we should start when they are kids. And I was remembering that I've seen some cartoons from the B and the ÖBB where they have the trains as the characters of the cartoons. So I was thinking that probably as railway companies, as UIC or international organization, we should try to make an effort to make railways more attractive from an educational point of view, since the beginning, since when children are like children are children, so they can grow up also with the culture of being sustainable, being intermodal, maybe in a way that can understand. So maybe through cartoons, through education in schools. So probably this is a step, the next step. So if we are too much focused on the customers of today, but if we want to make railway system sustainable in the future, we also start think now to the customers of tomorrow. And so probably at the international level, probably it's better because it's maybe you can spread this voice at international level. Also, it's easier to start thinking now, and also maybe this might appear a waste of money today, but maybe it's an investment for the future. I don't know what you think about this.
International cartoons, Mark. The director of passengers is here, so I know the idea. Definitely something that we were talking about. We have a sustainable unit here also, and we exchange information between other departments. And one of the things was to work more and more with youth councils, with maybe not with the schools, but it could be a good idea to think about how to reach these future customers. That's for sure.
As I said, we will deepen this point in the next year in the CHEMP program, so the Customer Experience Management Platform, and I am glad to take this point into our program.
We were discussing barriers. I think that maybe we have an international barrier. We have been discussing a little bit. Let me give an example with our competitors, the airplane. If we want to go from a point A to a point B, we can go to a certain portal that will solve everything for us, regardless the country, regardless the company. We will maybe have to take 2 jumps, 2 transfers. In the airport, normally, I think that we will make ourselves, we will wayfind normally. We will not have any problem with that normally. But if we go to the case of a railway trip, it is not so easy to find the portal, to find several tickets with different companies, solving you the whole thing. We probably will have to buy them maybe independently, maybe reaching a station in a country. We could have some problem, not maybe with the wayfinding, but maybe with the timetables and all that. It happened to me in Bern, in Geneva, that a volunteer helped me to to solve my problems of the next train and all that, because it was not in English. So don't you think that we have a kind of international barrier in railways for young people and not for so young people that should be solved as our competitors, the airplanes, the air companies?
For sure, I completely agree, and there are many examples. And the thing is that it's maybe more difficult for rail because planes go from point to point and they don't have this capillary. Then the expectation, I would say that sometimes the expectations are higher with rail than with planes or other modes. Okay, when a train is 15 minutes late, everyone's complaining. When a plane is 15 minutes late, you are happy because it's more or less what you expected. So. But that's good. I mean, it puts pressure on us, and we have to. And then you have the intercity train, more similar to plane, and then you have the commuters, and you want to have everything A good example was in Japan when they decided to have numbers also in the stations to make it much easier for foreigners just to identify the station, not just to look, okay, some symbol with some squares and then a line here, and then you were looking. Then having numbers makes it, and this kind of solutions, it's thinking about the traveler, not only about the usual traveler, international traveler, and that brings you solutions. But there are many steps. I completely agree.
I totally agree as well. I totally agree as well. So we talked about it a bit before, but it's one of the simplification and the easier access. It's especially a problem when we are talking about an international travel. So, and we know, as he was saying, it's more complicated because you have some barriers, some physical barriers, the territories. So. Before, like, you were interested, for example, in not having the same rails because it was a safety issue. It was like a country safety issue. And today we want to connect everything. We want to connect Europe and even beyond. But so it's slow, but it's work in progress. We see some progress. We see some dynamism, especially since the COVID crisis, especially since the climate crisis. So, and we are seeing some platforms that are being created little by little, where you can find tickets from a point A to a point B. And so today they don't. We are still far away from the goal, but we see some progress. So we think, and also with the opening to the competition of many markets, we are seeing that companies and operators are collaborating more and more. So we really believe, we are really optimistic at Watts. So we see that operators collaborate more and more, and we are sure that more offers and services like Interrail Pass, Eurail Pass, and also platforms that easy the access to information will be created. So, but it takes time.
Just to go on this topic of simplification and cooperation also, it's true that nowadays competition in the railways, new operators coming, new offers coming in, and that's great in a way to have new offers and new services. But how can the railway system cooperate for the two main things, I think, which make the life of tourists easier, which is and there are some initiatives already building. And now I wonder what can we do? And actually, shouldn't we be inspired by the airlines companies? This, it seems like for travel is sometimes easier with the planes.
I mean, I think, as we said before, it's a work in progress in the sense that of the simplification. Maybe to some extent, rail companies were too big at some extent. So they were big enough to develop their own systems independently from each other. They did not feel the need to coordinate to some extent as other modes did, about ships on one side and container ships standardization, and planes on the other side that was already born as an international mode of travel. So they had there was not a national perspective, at least in Europe, because countries are too small. Maybe in the States it's different. So they were born already with this need of coordination. The same happened to railways. I mean, time schedules were coordinated with railways. For that, every town had its different 12 hours. Noon was at noon. Okay, when the sun was at its highest, then with rails, they had to coordinate and have the same time schedule. So at its scale, it already contributed to this. Now we need a broader scale because trains are no longer running at 40 miles per hour, but 300 kilometers per hour. So we need to jump this scale. Countries are too small in miles of the world. But then companies were big enough to have their own technologies, their own systems, their own incompatibilities. And forces are like keeping that. I don't know exactly why. Even the efforts of the UAC and the very difficult to get this coordination because every time that the standard's set, some exceptions are set also. But I think that it's an ongoing process.
perhaps competition can help a bit because we have already examples like Eurostar or Thalys or international trains from one country to another, and when they take responsibility for the customers independent from the country. It's a little similar like the plane. And the historical dimension between the railways was, yes, it was coordinated with timetables, was coordinate technical issues, but normally you have cooperation until the border, and then behind the border, the next undertaking is responsible. And so the cooperation concerning the customer itself, it was not so developed. Huh? And perhaps with more and more international private trains, this will give pressure also to handle it like the other undertakings.
Yes, Jorg points on one of the things that characterize the railway company in Europe. One company, at least in the past. So, connection, timetable, international timetable coordinated, but they were trained from one point to another point. And at the border, the company says, okay, now it's me in charge of the train, no problem. High-speed train and a different way of travel are changing the point of view. So it's happened what you say. People that change train in international routes or arrives in another country with the train and take another trains. At the moment, maybe railway companies are a little bit in late. I mean, change the market, and we are very, very close with some rules, responsibility, insurance. I mean, we are speaking about the market, but we have a very, very legacy way to work. So in many cases, you would do something, and there's our law, internal law, and that give you a stop. So I think Europe will help us in this because they are, for example, promoting the disability European card, the European disability card. So you will travel with the same approach in all the countries if you have this card. And the new regulation that will run from June is going to, in this direction. But what the railway sector is noticing is that from one part, the market, the customers ask us to simplify, to connect, to interact. And on the other side, we have some authorities at many, not only international, but also domestic authorities that consider their work linked to, for each situation, what you have to do. And in this way, we have two forces, opposite force. So I hope the market and this renovated wind that is going in the work can help also to jump this problem. I missed the first day of the training because I was in Naples in a company's convention, and my colleague that works in the top rail trains, Luigi Cantames, told us that in the past it was possible to jump from a Trenitalia train to FAL trains in the same platform. But some years ago, to the safety, because the safety is something that in some cases, of course, the concept of safety is honorable. But if you stop to do things because of the safety, there's something wrong. So for safety, they built a wall between these two tracks in the middle of the platform. So now, if you want to jump from the Trinitalia trains to the other trains, you have to go out from the station, pass through the street, arrive in the other station, and take the train. So this example just to say that there are physical, but not only not physical blocks in order to safety, to protect, to do things that in the past we didn't do. And so in some cases, we can notice that the interconnection now are harder than before. So I hope this post-COVID era will help us to understand that the focus is on the customer, on the travel. So maybe to build a wall, maybe it's safe, but it's not useful. And the customer at the end will leave the train because it's too difficult. It's not simple.
Okay, I would like to. There are some colleagues here that are under 30. So I would like to ask you if you imagine that you have to make a letter for Santa Claus for the railways. Give me just two concepts, two things that you would like to ask the trains to have in the future to be more attractive to you.
Thank you for the opportunity to ask and this letter for Santa Claus. So being part of the digital generation, I think, as you have told and talked about this already, that getting even closer trains to our cell phones, computers, digital media, I think this is like a big step. Also, there's the problem of like being trying to get to a detox because sometimes it's even too much. But I think we love what we do sometimes because we get it closer and we have the opportunity to try. So in order to get closer, I think, to these generations, it is mandatory to make it some way like closer to our hand. And with videos, with social media, with making it easier to share with our friends, I think that's something that attracts a lot of young people, and that's what I can ask for, or I would like to.
I agree with Gustavo. I think that gives us like a very close understanding when we can see like in social media because we spend a lot of time there. And I think that a way that can make train more attractive, at least in Spain, is to have more trains because we don't have like very good communication there. If you want to go to a city from another, if you want to go to Madrid, it's okay, but if you don't live there, it's more complicated. So I think having more opportunities to move and to go will make that like easier. Because from my experience living abroad, living in the center of Europe, it was really, really easy to move by train to the countries, other cities. But as a Spaniard living in Spain, it's more and more difficult in terms of accessibility, in terms of having the opportunity, and also in terms of money, because I think it's like a very different. Different. Because in Spain, trains are more expensive, are more difficult to get, and I think that makes like us like young people to often to decide to take a bus instead of a train, for example.
Your wishes for the next year?
my wish is related to the question I made before, and is to make feel each generation, and in this case, young generation, at home, as in a train or the stations, linking it to their identity. Maybe, well, nowadays are multiple identities and their cultural heritage. But when we say cultural heritage, not only like big building and historical things, but also immaterial heritage, nowadays heritage, traditions, art, of things we are like person, society, and also identity. So in each station, in each train, develop a program that attract the young generation to that train or station and have a good memory of that train. They will return to it. And that's, I think, a differential value against airplanes or cars that don't have the opportunity of exploit this heritage or identity nuance, because they don't have the relation with the territory that railways has. And in that point, I want to underline this day I've spoke with about the equibay food at the stations that are like kind of boxes in Japan stations, that each station has a special box inspired on the local gastronomy, and they are like very popular in Japan. And this is a way to link the station with the gastronomy, the immaterial heritage, and that's something funny, something pop, and that people will remember and feel identified with this aspect. Thank you.
Can I ask also the colleagues from the university?
Well, I was thinking that maybe we are all sharing that we obviously use a lot of social media to connect with one another, and a lot of times we connect with people from all over Europe and all over the places, and maybe the trains could be the extra step that we take to make the real connection and to actually get to know each other like face to face, not only by the social media. So maybe focus on making available like the resources to meet in person and to make the real connection and the physical one.
Well, I think that, of course, for young people, the topic of economy is very important, making it affordable, but also I think that, as you mentioned before, changing the idea of taking the train from transport to service, maybe converting it into a whole experience with the landscapes, with the cultural heritage, and advertising that, maybe topics of marketing. I think that would be a really interesting way of acting to attract the idea of the train for young generations.
You? Maybe some of the colleagues from the industry or from the operators, what do you think you could do in your job to make it possible? How do you think your companies where you work could do better to improve this link with the young generations? Some of you? From Italy, from Greece?
Rosadoniou from Greece. I think this case with a young to have the combination for the cost. If you see the first point is was cheaper, like offers or like discounts, like Greece, and the second is the advertisement, like a Wi-Fi in the train or some apps. But we must focus to the day-to-day life, like the lady from the university said.
The colleagues from Ethiopia or from Morocco, it would be nice to, because you have a very different reality sometimes from what. So would you like to add something about what to do in the future, what the railways can do in the future for, in Africa, for example, where you have a huge population of young people?
Thank you for this opportunity. Yes. Okay. In Africa, we are a little bit late. Yes, it's many people want to use the train. Our company is for two countries. One company for two countries is very important city was created with a train. Like also Djibouti is the capital of my country. It's created by the port and the railway. In Ethiopia also, several cities created by the train. Train is started by French company, now is building by the Chinese. But for the two countries, the railway have a big role, is under the culture. It's not only the young, but all the people use the train. The difficulty is the train who we have now is modern, but it's not finalized. Is some tools. It's not like the ticketing is not digitalized. We are under the digitalization, and what I hear in this training, it can help us. Very important. Like the payment is also by digitalization. The buying, the digitalization, very important tools for us because it's close the passenger. What we say, like with like a period of pandemic, the mobility is reduced. If you have the digitalization, is very important. And another thing is the information. Information is very important. Awareness. If you have a, but the digitalization is important, but also is Africa is not a rich country. All people that don't have internet like Europe. So is another challenge. In general, we are in the good way. The train is developed faster, is very important for the two countries. That's what I say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Firstly, I think that the needs of the young generation are the same. Donc, the young generation have the same needs all over the world. And to have the simplest and the most accessible way to travel. So in Morocco, at the ONCF, we have already provided them an application to have all the information about the travels. and to have also the information instantly. Donc, the train have some delay, they push them a notification, so to manage and planify her travel previously. We also have a digital ticket for all type of trains and categories. And we also work to design offers and fares for all the categories, students, leisure, younger leisure who travel for vacation or whatever the motive. So I think that we have also a lot of topics to develop, but we have some things, some services still, and we work also on intermodality, and we try to go partnership with a lot of operators of bus, tramway, and car sharing also. So,
Thank you. Colleagues from Japan, maybe want to add something?
Yeah, before someone mentioned that for young people, of course, we have to work on something, but also we should start earlier for children, and that and we have a lot of children who loves. I think Anna said something about it, but a lot of children admires train drivers, and I think it's a lovely culture in Japan that many children are very fond of train from their childhood, and we provide a lot of products for children also to make big fans for our future customers. For example, we have characterization for trains, for Shinkansen, like they transform in like a machine. And we also have train like the bento box, which shaped like Shinkansen. And I think that makes a lot of children fan that wants to take train. They want to see the train. They want to ride on train. So I think that would give some clue to for future customers in Japan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Oh, brava.
I try. So I want to come back to the metaverse. I think we can't ignore the metaverse. I join what Federica said, what other colleagues said. The rail company final destination is not IT. Yeah, it's really, we have to simplify, we have to think to a timetable, to the service, yes, really, to simplify the travel for per people with disability, yes, it's our problem. But I think metaverse can help us to simplify, to tell, to, what's the English for raccontare? Tell? Yes, okay. To tell the experience. So I think association like what, for example, can help us. So rail company would invest, for example, would help association like what to development, IT technologies or metaverse. So because I say that because my job consists in social caring. So every day, people ask us more information about the service, and often say, yes, it's true, I take this information, but please give me a phone number to call because I want to talk with real people, real person. Yes, it's real. But I think metaverse can help us to simplify this, because it's not possible respond to every people face to face. And digital help us for this. So I think it's not possible to ignore at all the metaverse. I think it's the future for the association like what can help us to tell this experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Sometimes I think it's like in a train station, in a big train station, you have in Paris, for example, you have commuters. We know where we go. Normally we take 1 hour to go, so you go very fast. You just clear the path. So please try to deal with tourists and with other people that they are like, they have time, or maybe they don't know where to go. So IT and call centers, and it's the same, I think. Give the tool to the people that want digital information, and at the same time give the possibility to others that will prefer to be more, have the information in another way. And I don't think it's a question of necessary of age, you know. Sometimes it depends. If you know the place as a commuter, you will go to find the information in the right place. If you are a tourist, or you are someone that's not used to use digital, or it's in a special situation, new situation, then you need someone to say, okay, you know, I'm in this very special situation. It's not a standard. I need help. And so staff, digital and not digital, it's a challenge, and there's something to find a balance in railways, isn't it? I don't know if someone else want to say something from the audience. Okay, if not, to wrap up this, I think I would like our speakers to say just a few sentences or something you would like to add on, for example, how to cooperate together. You are in a very good position as a chairs of different international working groups at the UIC, as academia representatives, as association representatives. How do you think that we could cooperate, work together to make it, I will say some words that you said I think are important, to have a better information, to work more in partnerships, to make it more pleasant, without forgetting the need to simplify the social importance of the daily life, and also the attractiveness of railways for leisure. How would you cooperate to simplify, to make it more attractive, more simple and attractive for your customers, for our customers, and for young generations especially?
I think the best thing is to learn from each other, and it's, as I said, it's the reason why we have created this platform. I can invite also other railways or organizations to collaborate there. Let me tell you from our case study. It was a very detailed work that we have done for our member Euskotren, the Basque country railway undertaking, more or less a commuter railway today, but with the entrance of a high-speed rail in northern Spain in Basque country, that will probably change. And so we have done, Joachim himself, a detailed case study. What it means to build on from a commuter railway to an intercity high-speed network, what changed in behavior of rolling stock, behavior of staff, what kind of products we have to offer, what means it for station development, for development around station, and so on. We have met the colleagues in Bilbao and San Sebastian some weeks ago to have an image. And so I think it's a very good way to improve collaboration, to have an image, what the challenges they have, and to participate on it.
Yeah, Carles?
Okay, very tough question. Before getting to that, this is the final words. There are two ideas I wanted to share before closing. One is the topic was talking about young people or young market sector and so on. And here I think that we should make an effort, marketing teams and so on, to differentiate what are the needs specific to the generation in terms of young people. So a market segment, which is younger people with probably more income issues than other people, but with more time availability, so different characteristics from a marketing point of view, and which are social changes that will last even if this generation grows up. And there are two different things that sometimes we mix them, because probably those native digitals, they will be native digitals even when they are seniors. So I think that sometimes we mix the two concepts and we should distinguish them, because one thing is to target one part of the market, the other thing is to identify changes in society that maybe they start with the younger people, that they are going to last forever. And as was said before, seniors, some of the seniors are very digital also, and they are an important part for leisure tourism. The second is that at Top Rail, we are very aware that there's a huge potential for tourism and leisure travel by rail, and that there are many environmental, let's say, aspects around our sector, and it will be our fault if we don't take advantage of that and we don't use, and we are not ready to answer to this demand from society, from customers. So there's a huge opportunity ahead, and I think that that's going to be developed. So I'm very optimistic on that, but there's a lot of work to do. And then getting to your question, I think that, as was also said, the essential word here is cooperation. We need to know better each other and to start really cooperating, even if it's in a competitive environment, but with leisure, there's less competition in terms that the tourist is usually visiting one country after another. There's not as much competition, but even in a competitive environment, cooperating is essential also to develop these standards that will benefit all of us, these information changing platforms. So integrating very small operators that we see many countries devoted to tourism, and they are also important to have them on board. They don't have the resources to develop huge platforms and their own systems, but they have to be integrated. So I think that's the answer to your question. My answer, not the answer.
Thank you.
Well, I totally agree, because we already talked a bit about it, but we really believe in the power of cooperation and communication. And so just to conclude, I'd say that at what we have many ideas. Some of them we are testing them, some of them are already ongoing, but we have so many that we would like to develop. And so I'm really happy today to have met these new people from new operators that we know very well, but we are not partners yet. So I would be happy to discuss about any collaborations, because as I said, there's plenty of things that could be done, and we are really willing to work to develop more international offers, to work, for example, to help develop services more like Interrail, but beyond Europe, for example, or maybe in Europe, but just between some countries. I don't know. We also think about themed passes, maybe, with some based on interest of young people, or we see other opportunities like big events, huge events that have really a huge media impact, but also a huge environmental impact, like Olympics, the World Cup, or festivals. So there's so much to be done with to connect them with rails and with train travel. So I'd be happy to discuss further with with all of you, and we say work together.
Great. Thank you. Open to that also. Nasima, maybe you can.
The same for me. I think that it's a great opportunity to go on in a collaboration, and the first thing is that I can, and I do for a long time now, but I will go on to open the classroom and to open university. But if you are searching for young people, you will find them. We have thousands of young people who are completely fascinated, not interested, fascinated. But don't know if I had plays with trains, toys. Well, they're young, but for sure they consider that public transport and train as a backbone of public transport and mobility is the future. So it's important to have direct contact with these young people and to listen to them and try to understand. They can be contradictory, they can be ambiguous as every kind of people, what they really want when they take the train or they want to be customer of a train. Second is perhaps about thinking more deeply into what is a generation, because a generation is not only demographic, being born after or before the turn of the century, make them more than teenagers, between 20 and 22 now. So I have them in front of me now in the classrooms. And I think that what makes a generation is sharing something together. You know, in the 20th century, the 14-18 war made a generation of French people because they were under war, and the war makes a generation. Now we have, I try to tell you that we have a climate generation. And we can turn a climate generation into a train generation, but it's had to be prepared. It's a process. But we have a common spirit, and these common spirits can make a generation if there are more to share than to be divided, that limited interest altogether. And I think that in the next future, next year, we have this Rugby Cup in Paris, and the year after, we have the Olympic Games. This can make a generation, and a train generation. So we have an opportunity to build this collaboration we talk about in the vision of this great event, because it can make and produce this spirit of sharing event experience and with and through train.
Thank you. Very, very interesting. Yeah, in fact, it's a good momentum. No? I would say we are trendy, but it should be not taken for granted. I think it's important that we on that.
Yes, it's important that we work together, and this international group are an opportunity. And inside the commuter regional train services, we are trying to open the group. I mean, here we are in international contest, but we are all railway. And we spoke about buses, tram, trains, and so on. So inside this group, the commuter, we are creating a collaboration with the UITP, that is the International Association for the other transports, the other public transports. And this is in the direction of creating services instead of transport. In the past, right now, we have transport. So we have UITP for railway, UIC for railway, UITP for public transport, and so on. So in this international context, we are trying to go over the transports to the service, also with this collaboration. That is new direction. I mean, we had 2 meetings together. I cannot tell you what we reach with this meeting because maybe nothing at the moment, but it's, we strongly believe it's the right direction.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. You are not living in all of you in Paris, so I really appreciate that you came to be today with us. I think it's time to finalize. Maybe I would like to give Federica the floor to make. Yeah, Mark will talk later. If you want to say something more, or we give the floor to Mark. To you. Mark, do you want to say something? So Mark Igong is the direct. You have your seat there. Your seat here, Director of Passengers at the UIC.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Federica. Thank you, all the panelists with this very, very interesting discussion. Jörg, Carles, Anna, Nassima. All the friends 20 years ago, maybe more. We know.
So young.
No. So the last panel was for the young generation. So I think it was for me, due to the fact that I have quite the same advantages in public transport than the young generation. So last week I was in Roma because there are a lot of people coming from Italy here, and in Roma we met the high level people in a very well organized meeting with the CEO of FS Group and a lot of people, more than 50 people, and the motto was sometimes repeated, to transform from transport to services. So it has been said a lot of times. There were some roundtables on that topic. So it's difficult for UIC to say that because UIC is a technical organization at the basis. But what is interesting in UIC is that there was some departments like the passenger department and freight department, which can be more focused on the customers and on the services, and also the rail system department, which is obviously focused in technical things, which could be rolling stock, infrastructure, signaling, and other topics like that. So I've seen that. Concerning the passenger department, I will, if you allow me, Vanessa, I will speak a little bit concerning this, what we are doing now, because I've heard a lot of things here during this panel. So there are 5 sectors. There are 5 sectors. The first one concerns the ticketing. So you spoke concerning ticketing. In ticketing, we are working a lot concerning the services with all our European members concerning that. So I see Christina at the rear line of this room because she's the secretary of this sector, and we are working on a lot of topics. The first one is a standard in order to simplify all the process, which name is OSDM. Maybe you have heard of that, which is open sales and distribution model, in order to facilitate, to have through tickets coming from different companies without walls, without physical walls, as you said before. So there is that, and there is also multimodality, which is possible with that. That means we are working with IATA. That means the airline association, like UIC, but in the airline, in order to get integrated tickets. So I hope we will have that in 2 or 3 years. There are already some examples, but which are very, very narrow examples. So we will do that with a large environment, and also with public transport. You spoke about UITP. The Association for Public Transport is a global association worldwide. So we are working on that. We are working also on another topic which is more dedicated to regional and commuter trends on ticketing, which is ETCD, which is Electronic Ticket Control Database. I'm sorry, it's complicated, I like a name. That means there are tickets which are, we call that NRT, that means without any reservation, and where the tickets are managed in a database which is hosted by Amazon, within a database from the beginning of the issuing of the ticket to the end of life of the ticket. So, and the drivers, conductors within the train can change the ticket, can control the ticket, and it will avoid some fraud on that. So we are working on that topics and a lot of others within the ticketing and what we call the PSG. It is not a football club, but it's a passenger services group. The other is high-speed trains. So you spoke here, of course, about commuter regional. You have seen and you said, Carles, that there were a lot of clients concerning tourist clients. We see that in the airplanes. I'm sorry, but sometimes I take the planes 4 times a week, and they are all full. That means there are a lot of tourists, and you have seen that here in Paris, not far from here. There are a lot of tourists, and it's very important to have that and to have connections with high-speed trains and regional trains for tourists. So concerning high-speed activity, we have the sector intercity and high-speed committee, where we will organize the Congress. So it is an advertisement here, I'm sorry to say that. The Congress, which will be in Marrakesh, marvelous city, in March. Yes, Nasira. In Morocco, in March 2023, where we are waiting for 1,500 people coming there. And it's very, very, very nice thing. So it is that. There is another sector which is very important for you, which is also the railway stations, the Station Managers Global Group, where there are 4 working groups within this sector. There is one concerning the design, one concerning the operation, one concerning the retail in stations, and the last one concerning the small stations. And you know that, Nassima, by heart, of course, because she's fond of railway stations. Yes. So there are a lot of things, and you spoke concerning airports, concerning harmonization of information. So it is also a key topic concerning harmonization of information within the station, concerning the wayfindings within the stations, and it is difficult sometimes to harmonize in all the world, you can imagine, for this topic. The fourth sector within the passenger activities is chaired by Carles here. Thank you to come from Barcelona. And concerning tourism areas, so they did a lot of work concerning this topic within this sector. They organize a forum each year normally, and so on, with a lot of meetings. The next meeting will be in Gijón, in the north of Spain. It will be in 2 weeks. So the last one, I don't remember the name. What was the name of the last sector? Commuter Regional Train Services, which is chaired by by neighbor Federica. So we have organized this training. We did that sometimes to organize trainings. And may I thank people here? Yes, maybe it is time to do that. To thank the panelists, to thank all the speakers, because I think that you have learned a lot of things between for this. Within that, I hope so. So you have you had some speakers speaking about infrastructure, speaking about rolling stock, speaking about services, about ticketing, about other ways of transport concerning tourism, concerning security. Sorry, not safety. Security concerning also legal issues with Jan. And other topics. I think if there is somebody who is not happy, he can raise his hand concerning all the program. So do not hesitate for that. So I thank all the speakers concerning for this training. Maybe I will thank also other people, which are you. Of course, so it's great that you are here from different countries, mainly Italy. I know, I've seen that, but also from yes, different countries, different companies, from rolling stock companies, from universities, from infrastructure companies, and railway undertakings. From Greece, where I've seen, of course, Japan, Morocco, EDR, Ethiopia, Djibouti Railway, who is here, and others. So thank you to be here. And you said that what is important is to exchange. At the end, Jörg said that what is important is to exchange. So I will make a proposal. Maybe you do not know what I will say, Vanessa. I will make a proposal to set up a WhatsApp group with all of you, and you exchange each time what you are doing in your business to enhance the commuter and regional train services and to transform the transport in services. So. So I do not have to forget somebody. Of course, you will be the ambassadors in your company for this kind of training. Also for the next training, yes, please inform your colleagues that it's very interesting. You can also write to Vanessa to say, okay, I did not like this speaker because he was not not nice. No, it is not for you, Joaquin. So and also you will participate. You can participate to other trainings because we are also organizing other trainings and commuter and regional train services. I will also, because I'm thanking now to thank the organizers, Vanessa and Federica for that, and also Beatrix Perrault, all the logistic team with Pascal Fanzi, Hassan, and others, and of course the people who has prepared the lunch, and also for the dinners. The dinner.
And the university,
yes.
Elisa, the university that worked with us all these last months.
Yes. So it was my speech. I did not forget anything. It's okay? Okay. So do not hesitate if you have questions. You can do that now or just after during the lunch break. I'm at your disposal for that.
Mark. So maybe Federica.
Yes, I just want to add that thanks to Hugo that helps us in all the organization of this training, and thanks to you all that with your answer, with your participation, allow us to run in interesting training. The training we will organize the training for next year, and I want to say thanks to Hellenic Train, because the next train will be placed in Athens, and it will be scheduled on the last week of November. So, of course, we will wait you and your colleagues and your friends in Athens for the next training, and we would be very happy if you fill the survey and you send us suggestion for the items, subject, material organization, in order to develop a training every year. And maybe my colleague from Hellenic Train wants to invite you all.
So we are happy to organize the next training of CRTS in Athens, and we hope so to find all of them in Athens the next October. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So just, I think this is the end of the YouTube broadcast. Thank you, Pascal and colleagues, for this. So it's going to be online. If you didn't have time to take notes, because there were a lot of elements, I think, what were discussed during this round table and during the day, you will be able to check it in UIC YouTube. Okay. Again, thank you for all of you to be here today, and that's all for the broadcast, I think. And now, please don't go, because we are going to give you the certificates. Okay? Thank you. And Rika, the last. We will make some.
We will make pictures, and you can ask your colleagues also to make pictures, and at the end also it will be great if you can put that in a frame, and or in your kitchen, or so in another place, in order to have a good souvenir of this day. Is it okay, this place, Vanessa? Or we need to be there? It's okay for the picture? Okay, so the first one will be Nasira. You are the first. So we will go now to the industry from Alstom, Mr. Maxime Percher. French people from Alstom Saint-Ouen? Yes, okay. Next one is Hugo. Alors, with a big name, nice name. It's always the same in Spain. Okay, Hugo José Fernández del Campo. De rien. Next, Hamed Dimbio. Ahmed, you are welcome to be here from your very nice country. Come between us. Merci, Ahmed. Javier Calvo Fernandez de Sener. Sener is not only a speaker, also an attendee. Come here. Thank you. Barbara Assanti. I think she's there. Dimitra. Okay, c'est with a Greek connection here. Merci, Hélène. Merci. Antonio. So some people spoke about Euskotren just before. Okay, it's a very tall Euskotren. Thank you. Viviana Pelicani. Come, Viviana. Prego. Francesca Bruno. Francesca. Jorgos Antonio. Jorgos. Okay, so you have changed the name of your company, coming from Trenose to Hellenic Trends. Yes, it will be officialized also in the next UIC General Assembly in 8th of December. Thank you, John. Lorenzo Terlizzi. Lorenzo, what a beautiful first name. My son-in-law has the same first name. Carlos Martinez. de la Cruz. Miriana Ungolo, ferrovie del Sud-Est. Not here. Okay, route Abad, Sener. Okay, it's a Sener connection here. And thank you, Sener, for the nice document you have done, and especially you, Joaquin. It was a marvelous document, this document. Andrea Arnese. Picture, why? I don't know why. Because it is an Italian picture. Thank you, Andrea. Sabrina Calati, Trenitalia. Take a lot of pictures for her. Grazie mille. Ah, Cristina Pini. Okay, please stop to work and come here. Me too. Marta Fernandez Garcia, UPM, University de Madrid, the center of Madrid. Mauro Capurso, de Trenitalia. Okay, please take 10 persons here. It's there are not a lot of men from Trenitalia. Aldo Girardi. Yes, ask somebody else to take the picture. Sì, Miriana Ungolo. Thank you. Anas Mandour. So it's a Moroccan connection here also. Gianna Di Gaetano, Trenitalia. Gianna. Sí. Ah, Joaquin Botella. Sener, engineering. Okay, you will take a little place here. Thank you very much, Joachim. Thank you very much, Sener, also, to be here and to prepare a lot of meetings and other things for UIC. Marco, like me. Genovese. Georgia. Georgia Senni. Yasunari Nakajima. Yes, yes, from GR East. Coming from Japan. No, from Japan, Office of Paris. Parfait, merci, rien. C'est bon? Okay, everybody has his diploma. So don't forget to put that in a frame. Thank you everybody. Maybe I give you the floor for the last word. It's okay?
Enjoy the lunch. We will send you the presentations, don't worry, in the following days, and some photos maybe. And yeah, share in the social networks if the experience was good. And I hope you to see you in the, I really think that I have seen a lot of people from other trainings, as now they are speakers or they are UIC members of working groups. So use us. We are a tool. UIC is a tool for the members. So I hope you to see you in the future or in a train. Bye. Yes, Bea gives you a survey, so please, if you can give it back to her, it's a quality survey. It helps us to improve. So we are talking about a lot of customer experience, so you are our customer. It's easy, it's good for us to have inputs. Thank you again, and thank you, Bea. I don't know if you said, for the support always. And time for lunch.